Hi, I'm Dr. Mike and welcome to NFGeeks. Well, Valentine's Day is upon us, and I'm sure everyone expected that there would be an NFGeeks video about Valentine's Day. And I was thinking about what to do, and normally I might have done something a little fun and silly, and I realized, a lot of people do fun and silly Valentine's Day videos, and that's good. It's uplifting of the spirit. But I started thinking about it, and I thought that maybe it would be better if I went to a much more serious and deeper place about Valentine's Day. Especially since this is NFGeeks and I'm an NF. I sort of thought I really should kind of take us someplace else with this. And I thought I would do a video about what is the meaning of St. Valentine's Day. And I think that's important because, do we even know what the meaning is? Have we ever had this discussion, about what the meaning of St. Valentine's Day is or could be? And I thought of this because, as we all know, this conversation goes on every Christmas, about Christmas. We go through this whole thing about, what is the meaning of Christmas, and are we living in the meaning of Christmas, and is capitalism ruining the meaning of Christmas? This whole moralizing goes on about it. In fact, it's become a Christmas tradition to have some kind of moralizing go on about the meaning of Christmas. I mean, we all do that. But we never ask what's the meaning of St. Valentine's Day. And I think it has a meaning that's just as deep, maybe even more deep in a lot of ways, because who gets to participate in it and how and all that. So, it's got something very serious to it, and we never ask that question. So I think it's important to do that, to go into that. And so according to me, according to Mike of NFGeeks, I think that the meaning of Valentine's Day needs to be expressed in three terms, okay, or in three ideas, connected to each other, and that is transcendence, exclusivity, and rarity, okay, and there's terms in between all that, of course, but transcendence, exclusivity, and rarity, okay, is what Valentine's Day is all about. So when I say transcendence, what I mean is that St. Valentine's Day is celebrating the transcendent aspect of love. Okay, meaning that through that special loving relationship with another person, you transcend and grow in a way that normally you couldn't. Either individually, personally, you just couldn't do it, or just in a way that can only happen through that type of relationship. You grow as a person and you transcend. And you don't just transcend sort of like, your problems or whatever. You sort of transcend spiritually, into another place. Okay, and for that, you have to think about, the origin myth of St. Valentine's Day, which is about St. Valentine the martyr. And there's a bunch of Valentine story martyr stuff. The one that is associated with Valentine's Day is that St. Valentine was somebody who a Christian priest or bishop or whatever who was marrying people under Christianity that he shouldn't have been marrying. Sometimes it's soldiers, the centurions, that kind of thing, of the Roman Empire, But he's he's living in antiquity, 200s, whatever, and 3rd century, and he's marrying people, and Rome finds out and they kill him or whatever. He becomes a martyr for love, But the idea behind that is about Christian values or ideas as they are connected to love, because you could argue, well, what's the big deal? I mean, they could have been married by the Roman whatever, the Roman priests, or even if they did do the marrying, whoever did it, they could be married under the Roman system. What's the big deal? Well, the difference is about Christian values being, sort of transfused into that. Okay, so what are we celebrating then when we say that, we're connecting it back to St. Valentine, is that we're adding to love an element of redemption and salvation. Okay, and that's big. That's big stuff. Because that's what Christianity's really about. Let me take a little aside here for a minute. Christianity is not about heaven or hell or creationism, or how old the earth is, or were there dinosaurs on the ark, and is there going to be a rapture, and and how do you believe in evolution or not? That has nothing to do with anything. Okay, that's the real message, which apparently has been lost, is about redemption and salvation. Okay, and redemption being that you are no longer connected to the patterns of the past because you've changed your ways and you've accepted things, and it's not even being punished. It's about about acknowledging what you've done and forgiving yourself. That's where forgiveness comes in. But forgiving yourself and then allowed to walk a new path. Okay, because you've accepted a new path and have broken free from a bad past. Okay, that's what redemption really is. And salvation is being saved because of that. And so love with another person means redemption and salvation, okay, in some way, that you can break from the past. A lot of love archetypes are about this. Okay, a lot of love stories about someone is able to break from their past because of love. Okay, that they're on this path of dysfunction or immorality or whatever, and then they found love, with another person, and they were able to break free from that. And even though that was their past, it no longer defined them. It was no longer their identity. They could go beyond that. Okay, it could be something like a prostitute who does that, who discovers that. A lot of stories about prostitutes who find love, and or it could be somebody who's, a lot of times for the male side, it's somebody who's a killer, like they're a mob hitman, or they're a soldier, or there's somebody involved in intense violence and meaningless violence, and suddenly they fall in love with a woman, and now their whole past changes and everything changes, and they give up that life or whatever, something like that. So there's that's part of the redemption side of love. The salvation side has always been a part of love too, and one of the mistakes people make is that they always sort of assume that, and they always see it in terms of patriarchy, that salvation in love means the man rescuing the woman. Okay, that's only part of it. Okay, it's both genders save the other gender. It's how they do it. Okay, for women need to be saved from external circumstances, and this is in every archetype. So the woman is trapped in some physical space she shouldn't be in, or got caught in, or had no choice to be in, or whatever. She's in some place. She's in a cave, she's in a jail, she's in a castle, she's in a life of poverty somewhere, she's on the wrong side of the fence, whatever that fence is. She's physically in a bad place. Okay, there's nothing wrong with her as a person. She just externally is stuck in some external world that sucks. And what does the guy got to do? He's got to come in and get her out of there. Okay, by whatever means necessary. Okay, and that's the part we like, is that how far will the guy go in this external world where there's all this violence and danger to go get her? You know what I mean? Will he drive a truck off a cliff? Yeah, that's what we want to see. We want to see him drive the truck off the cliff. Hopefully he'll land on the other side of the canyon. But that's part of it. Now, for men have to be saved from their internal world, not their external world, but their internal world. Their internal self is a wreck. It's a mess, and they have to be saved from themselves. Okay, and that's what the woman does. Through the woman's love, saves him from himself. Okay, externally everything's fine. I mean, a lot of times the story, the guy is a prince or a king or a general or something, a billionaire. He's got tons of money and life and everything's awesome in the external world, but internally he's a mess. Okay, he's got nothing, and so he needs that love no matter what. Beauty and the Beast is about that. Even the Disney version is about that. I mean, the Beast has got this castle and talking candelabras, and it's Disney World. He lives in Disney World pretty much, but he's miserable. You know what I mean? He needs to be saved from his internal world. Okay, so there's salvation in love. Okay, and each party is saving the other party from something. Okay, from something that they need saving from. And in the act of saving the other person, you are redeemed from your own sins and your own dysfunction and all that. And that's how you transcend. Both people sort of transcend through that. Okay, so transcendence through redemption and salvation. Okay, through the love of the other person, you are redeemed from your past and you are saved by them. You save each other and you redeem yourselves. You transcend. There it is. If that's not what love's about, then I don't know. I'm shutting down the channel. Really, just gonna give up entirely. Okay, so that's transcendence. Now the other one, though, and this is the one nobody likes to hear, but it's true, and that is exclusivity. This is where it's very different from Christmas. In Christmas, everybody can celebrate Christmas. Everybody's in. It doesn't matter what you've done all year. You could be a total jackass. No, you get to come to the Christmas dinner. It's all that. You don't have to be Christian. You don't have to believe in God. Everybody gets to, hang out on Christmas and be a part of Christmas if they so choose, desire to be part of Christmas. It's very inclusive. Valentine's Day is not inclusive. It's not for everybody, okay? It's only for those. It's only a celebration of that relationship, but the participants are the people who are either in that relationship or trying to be, minimally, So there's Valentine's Day, who get to truly celebrate and have fun, and that's the couples, the people who are in love with each other, hopefully. And then there's, of course, us, the wretched. That's what I've been thinking about in my mind. What are we? We're the wretched. Okay, and I'm the wretched this year. I've been, on and off being the wretched throughout my life, and so this year I am the wretched. Okay, who knows how much longer I'll be the wretched, could be a long time. But I'm certainly today on the side of the wretched. So it's exclusive. Not everybody gets to celebrate it, okay, in that way. I do think both parties, though, are necessary for the celebration of St. Valentine's Day to be understood, okay? Because you sort of have to know what you don't have. In other words, let me put it this way. The people in relationships need to realize there are people who are not in relationships, and they could be one of them, okay? And so you should be grateful that you get to celebrate Valentine's Day the way you get to. And those of us who are the wretched, part of it is to realize our miserable existence, because our misery helps those who are in the relationships realize how lucky they are. But also, though, it drives us to want that transcendence. You know what I mean? That's part of the problem. We're not having that transcendence. We'd like to have it. So, it sort of drives us. But really, our part is to let the lovers know that they could be on the other side, and they should be thankful for that. Because, again, we're on the wretched side of this. In the Christmas, there's only one Grinch. Or one Scrooge. Valentine's Day, it's in the millions. It's a large group. But that's part of the celebration. Part of the celebration is to have people who are missing out. Okay? So let's say you're going to be like, well, I'm not going to celebrate it, and I don't care if I'm single. Okay, that's fine. But whatever state you're in, you're still celebrating it. Your non-celebrating of it is part of the tradition. Okay, so that, what you have and what you don't have is both simultaneously being expressed in the holiday. Okay, the lack of transcendence, the lack of redemption, the lack of salvation, maybe even the lack of forgiveness, all of that is also in Valentine's Day in the people who are not celebrating it as much because they don't have anybody, and that is part of it, though, for some of us to be in a wretched state. And even the people who are in love are also in some kind of wretched state. And what I mean by that is impoverished. That's what I mean, because that comes from the Symposium. Plato, who wrote the Dialogue Symposium, has Socrates sort of describing love and how the love of knowledge is the best love and all this. But at one point he says one part of love is poverty, or to be impoverished, meaning to be empty, to have nothing, and then really sort of this longing and wanting for something really bad because you're in this state of nothingness and really wanting something right away. And that is what love is about. And you could view both sides of this, this as being impoverished. The wretched, like you and me, we're impoverished in a true impoverished state, like, we're living in poverty without love and we want it. And the people in relationships are in a place where they're being fed, but they're not as impoverished. They're getting love, but it's a lot harder, to work. You got to keep getting that love. It takes a lot of work, and they might lose it. There's this knowledge of losing it. So there's that part of it. But anyway, it's exclusive, okay? Because at least they're getting something. It's work. They're getting something. The other half, the wretched, have nothing. They're on the outside looking in the window, okay? And last is rarity. Because of these two things, because it's not for everybody, and because love is transcendent, it's very powerful transcendent, because it allows for redemption and salvation, it's a rare thing. Okay, we don't want to admit that. We want to think, because we all grew up in capitalism, that love is everywhere, and, love is like Walmart, and we can all go, and it's very cheap, and then we can get it right away, go right down the aisle, and, go to the cash register, out real fast. But it's not true. I mean, if we really think about it in our lives and in other people's lives, it's not true. That transcendent love of salvation and redemption is actually a rare thing. Okay, and St. Valentine's Day is a celebration of that very rare thing. Okay, in its purest form. All right, and so not everybody gets to have it, and that's why it gets its own sort of holiday, and it gets its own sort of moment, to pause and think about it, and that's why lovers get to celebrate it, because hopefully they do have that wonderful thing, and they have it, but it's a rare thing to be cherished. Okay, it's not everywhere. Capitalism makes you think it is, because there's hearts and there's candy and there's cards, and hey, I'm not putting that down. I love hearts and candies and cards and flowers, and I love all the Valentine's Day trappings. They're nice, but love itself is not like candy or cards or flowers or any of that. You just can't go to the supermarket and pick it all up. It's a very rare, precious thing, and that's because of its nature, of that. So, in short, then, what is the meaning of Valentine's Day? Well, Valentine's Day, let's do it in reverse. Valentine's Day is about this very rare human relationship that is very kind of exclusive. Not everybody can be in this type of relationship. And what makes it rare and exclusive is that it allows people to transcend by redeeming themselves through helping the other through salvation. Okay, which allows them to redeem themselves. So redemption and salvation of each other, helping each other through that, allows for the transcendence, and that is what St. Valentine's Day is really about, or really celebrating. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. Come join the fun on the Facebook forum for NFGeeks. If you go there, you can win a free MBTI typing in our typing lottery. Or if you'd like to be typed by me, just send me a message at nfgeeks@gmail.com. Follow NFGeeks on Twitter and on Tumblr. And as always, NFGeeks, it's happening. And it's really happening because it's Valentine's Day. So I hope you all have a very happy St. Valentine's Day.